In the previous video, I mentioned that colleges should be facilitating year-long major-related internships. But colleges can't give you internships, and you can't give yourself one, so we need to figure out how to convince employers to offer them at a much higher rate than they currently do. I've got some ideas on how to do this. Before we dive in, let's put ourselves in the employer's shoes to learn about some problems they might have with internships, and then we can try to solve those problems. The first problem with offering internships is the biggest one: cost. Specifically, employers might not have the money to pay an intern. And even if the employer did have the money to pay an intern this year, they might not next year or the year after, which would hurt internship planning for the colleges. The easy way to fix this is to not pay interns. Before students stop watching this video because they hate what I just said, hear me out. First, if there is no expectation of payment, then a lot more employers should be open to having interns, which means more opportunities for students. Second, I think an unpaid internship should be part-time only and not full-time, which would still give the student the option to work another job for pay. And don't forget that during the internship year, I don't want students paying tuition to the college, which will also save them money. Third, it kind of makes sense not to pay students for the first several months of any internship because students probably won't be producing meaningful work for the employer until they've received more training. And fourth, I'm not suggesting that employers never pay interns. I'm just suggesting that the expectation for students should be that they are not paid. But an employer can pay an intern if they want, and honestly, as soon as the intern starts producing meaningful work, then an employer should start paying them. The second problem is time commitment. Employers typically don't want to hire anyone, including interns, unless that person is going to stick around long enough to provide value-added work. We can easily fix this by making the internships 1 year long. It's always been a bit baffling to me that employers offer summer internships for just a few weeks or months. That's not enough time for interns to start producing meaningful work, or even for the employer to fully evaluate the intern's potential. I would think pretty much all employers would prefer year-long internships over summer internships, or even 6-month internships over 3 months. There is one other problem that some employers have with internships, but I don't think it's a big deal. Some employers might not want to hire an intern unless it's likely that there will be a full-time job opening available at the end of the internship. This is a silly reason not to hire interns. The fix here is just for employers to directly communicate with a student at the beginning of the internship that the internship does not guarantee full-time employment because the purpose of the internship is learning and not recruiting. Honest communication sets realistic expectations. One last note to wrap up. Even though I said that there should be no expectation that employers pay student interns, this doesn't mean that employers shouldn't cover the intern's work-related costs. The employer should pay those costs. For example, a student shouldn't have to provide their own equipment to do a job, such as the employer asking a film student to buy a new camera.